Hey guys, welcome back to Critical Flick. Today we're reviewing a new film from Netflix called The Last Days of American Crime. So The Last Days of American Crime is a story about a former bank robber, and it takes place in almost like a dystopian type future where America has become a complete police state and the government is rolling out this ability to send out a signal into the airwaves that makes it impossible for you to commit an unlawful act, basically ending crime. So it's almost like a reverse purge in a way, the way that it's set up, and it has that same kind of feel to it. There's a lot of civil unrest, a lot of craziness going on. And the story follows mostly around the main character, Brick, played by Edgar Ramirez, and he is a former bank robber, and he's kind of commissioned to do his last one big job to try and escape into Canada so he can take all the money and basically have the greatest final crime to take place in America, and they're going to run off. He's working with this guy who's the son of a big crime boss. And I have to say, first thing off the bat about this movie is that it's really long and it doesn't need to be that long. It's 2.5 hours long and you feel it. You feel every minute of this movie because I don't have a problem. Movies can be 3 hours long. I don't care. I love all kinds of movies. It doesn't matter. The length isn't the problem, but your pacing needs to be really on point. And overall, just everything about a movie, if you're going to make it 2.5 hours long, needs to be quality. And this movie misses the mark a lot more than it hits it. As far as the acting goes, I just don't feel like the actors were given enough to work with. Edgar Ramirez, character in particular, Brick, is really one note. He doesn't show any real range. He doesn't really show any depth. The only thing that we know about him really is that he's very upset that his brother died in prison. And that's really the driving motivation for him throughout basically the whole film. He doesn't really seem to care that much about anything. There is a slight love interest that feels forced. And speaking of which, there's some really odd sex scenes that I don't know. They just didn't work for me in particular. I don't have a problem with, a quality sex scene in a film, but this just felt strange. It felt shoehorned in. The relationship never really felt like it was going anywhere. I will say Michael Pitt, who plays Kevin, did a okay job. He's definitely really falling into this role. He's having a lot of fun with the character. I actually really enjoyed him in the film Funny Games, a very underrated movie. And I don't think that it's his fault that the character in the story in general doesn't work. It just has a lot to say about the overall writing and direction of this film. It feels aimless. It feels like they just wanted to make it really long. There's a lot of long and drawn out sequences. Nothing feels like it's building to anything. I'll have to say the ending didn't feel warranted to me, in my opinion. If you're going to have this semi-slow burn for this long, I was hoping for a huge, ridiculous climax, a great ending. I mean, just overall worth it to ride along for this whole thing. But so much of it feels like it's just putting along to get to the very end. And it's fairly formulaic in the way that it's done. You kind of see all the beats coming as they go. There's a few twists and turns along the way, but you kind of know how things are going to play out. You know how these characters are going to work out together. And at the end of the day, I don't know, it just doesn't bring anything new to the table. And we've seen so many quality action films in the last, 5 to 10 years between the Mission Impossible franchises, between John Wick. There's just so many tight, well-made action films that this isn't crazy enough to be like, oh my gosh, look at these ridiculous stunts, or look at this incredible performing, this gun work, look at all, it looks so cool. It just felt so shallow, it felt so bare, and even for me, I thought that the sound design was subpar. The guns didn't sound great. A lot of the big crashes and punches didn't have any weight to them, any heft to them. I don't know, like if it wants to be a serious action movie, I don't think it lands there, and if it wants to be a political commentary about a police state, I don't think it even goes for it there, in my opinion. And the movie also stars Sharlto Copley, who I think is a really quality actor. A lot of the movies I've seen him in, Free Fire, he was great in. District 9, he's phenomenal in. He's in this movie, but he might as well not be in this movie. He doesn't really do anything. He's just kind of the cop character who's in the background while all these things are happening, and they focus so much on Brick's character, and he's not interesting. There's so many other characters that were more interesting. I thought that Kevin was a more interesting character. I just didn't understand why we have to focus on this guy who seems to have zero motivation. He's not like a big, good action star either. I don't mind my action heroes being kind of stoic and all that. I mean, the Terminator is fantastic. A lot of these older 80s styles action heroes maybe didn't have the most charisma, but this is just a flat line. This is like the baseline you can get out of this character. And I was really disappointed. I didn't expect a lot from the movie, but I thought it 2.5 hours long. There might be something in there, something I could find and enjoy. There wasn't really anything. There's nothing I can say about this movie that really stood out. Nothing that I was watching like, oh, that was a great action sequence, or oh, this was a great twist. Nothing. It's just a plain, bland movie that probably could have been, in my opinion, an hour long. The plot line did not need to be stretched out for this length. there wasn't enough in there. It just felt like a bunch of filler. Like we have to make this movie. And it is based on a graphic novel, so I can't really talk to how good it is compared to that. But I have noticed recently with newer adaptations of graphic novels, because it seems like a new trend that people are trying to do, trying to capitalize off of this print media of things. And sometimes the style and artwork and just the overall atmosphere that's created in a graphic novel doesn't translate well to the big screen. And this is another example of that, where I feel like maybe the source material didn't need to be adapted, or it needed to be adapted in a different format. So overall, yeah, I just did not find this to be a good movie. I would probably give it actually a 2 out of 10. There just isn't anything to be had in it. I don't think it's aggressively bad. I don't think it's something where you would be like, oh, this is so horrible, I hate it. But it's to make it through the movie was difficult for me, with just how slow it is, boring, and just nothing gripped me. Nothing made me be like, oh, look at this. This is nonstop action. This is incredible. This is good acting. We have a good storyline, a very interesting concept. It felt like they had a somewhat of an idea that they wanted to create a police state America, and there was going to be a last crime, a big last heist thing. And it never formulates to that. It never feels like it accomplished what it set out to do. So if you checked out this movie, let me know what you thought about it. Did you not enjoy it as much as I did? Maybe you really liked it, because I always want to see people that really like movies that I just didn't understand or didn't enjoy. So I'd like to see it. I'd like to see the comments down below if you found something redeeming about it. So again, thanks for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and see you guys next time.